Hey everybody, how's it going? I do apologize for the poor quality video because this is currently all that I've got. I have the garage light on there because my torchlight is still very flat and I haven't charged it yet. I am not sorry for that. I'm lazy and I do not have enough plugs. But further on, let's continue with this video. I'm going to try to make this short. I kind of did create a script, but apparently the script is too long for my phone's recording time. So, Ultimate Custom Night. Let's talk about it. So, Ultimate Custom Night, my theory about it is it's not multiple entities. It's not multiple spirits torturing William. It is one entity and one entity alone. This is kind of proven through multiple characters' voice lines, but then there are still some that kind of would throw you off. Why I think this would be the case is, well, what other way to psychologically torment someone and literally drive them crazy? Besides by, what acting as of multiple characters. There is in multiple folklore, traditions, and cultures where it is possible for one entity to possess someone and that person that is now possessed to be able to recall, re-listen, live, know, and feel exactly the things that the entity is doing, thinking, saying. So having all of this play out in William's mind is not that really far-fetched. It kind of seems plausible. As for it taking on multiple forms, also very possible where the entity is taking on multiple forms to end up driving a few points in. Why I believe they would take on these multiple forms is because I believe William to only be able to understand something through specific characters. It's like an inside job knowledge, like stuff that only William would know, references that only he would get and understand. From them would be my favorite, Jacko Chica. Why would a Halloween edition, something that Scott only threw in as a fun little quirk, a fun little nod to make the game a little bit more interesting, why would a Halloween-themed edition character be here in an official game and not as like a, hey look, it's Halloween, let's play? No, this character is permanently here. Why Jacko Chica specifically? Comes back to the original Withered Chica's voice line. I was the first. I have seen everything. Now that voice line also plays into the entity, but I'll come to that in a minute. So, with Jacko Chica, why she is there, if we analyze her character's theme a little bit more, what other thing in the whole Five Nights at Freddy's universe, the lore, what other thing has happened around Halloween? Fallfest. Fallfest happened around a Halloween. Fallfest is Halloween themed. We kind of do know that, and it is kind of proven in Help Wanted, the DLCs of Dreadbear and all that, and when not in the Halloween themed stuff. There is very obvious nods to Fallfest being a Halloween event. Who died at Fallfest? Fiona Murray. What did Fiona do? Create characters. What characters did she create? Chica. William would know this because he's a sneaky little snoop that ended up stealing everything from Murray. So him knowing that Fiona ended up creating Chica and Chica's Party World and all that things, and Chica also being the very first character to have an actual mascot suit besides Freddy and all them. She was the first character to be an actual mascot, existing way before Freddy. I'm not talking about Fredbear, because I do think Fredbear actually existed during Fallfest. The whole Fazbear thing had to be themed around something, at least. So, Chica being the first character created by Fiona. Fiona died at Fallfest. Fallfest was a Halloween-themed event. Henceforth, Chica burning, because Fallfest ended up burning down, where Fiona died. Chica, Fiona, burning, Fallfest. If that doesn't drive the point, I don't know what does. It is an event being brought back from William's past, here to torment him, to torture him, to say, hey, this is what happened, this is your doing, suffer, my bra, suffer. So, Jacka Chica, fun. Nightmare Foxy is not here, but instead he is replaced, even in the game, with the Halloween edition. Nightmare Foxy is replaced with Nightmare Mangle. Nightmare Mangle is here in UCN. So, Nightmare Mangle is a pull apart and put back together attraction, something that can be manipulated and controlled. We do know that William was very fond of controlling things, and Foxy, as we do see and learn in the F4 minigames, Michael ended up liking using the Foxy mask to scare his brother. I'm just going to say brother because I don't think the crying child was actually his brother. I do still believe that was the mimic that William ended up stealing. But either way, yes, Michael, Foxy mask, therefore he is usually... I'm sorry, there's a fucking mouse in my room and it is freaking the crap out of me. So, back to the video. Side rant over. Michael is usually known to be associated with Foxy. So, Foxy being replaced with Nightmare Mangle, an animatronic that we do learn. It's not even something that we learn, it's straight off the bat said to us in the second game, being pulled apart and put back together, and they ended up just leaving it like that in that condition. I didn't even think about that. Oh, my soul, leaving it in that condition, meaning that you're leaving Michael scarred and tormented and traumatized. Wow, William was a shitty father. Either way, back to the point. What we know in the movies is that the toy animatronics, that being Mangle included, were controlled via one spirit, one being controlling multiple things and every aspect of it. It didn't really have its own will and consciousness or spirit inhabiting it, so just drilling in the point that Michael had to do everything that his father told him. He had no choice. He couldn't act on its own. William did all of this to Michael, literally breaking him and molding him into something unrecognizable. Henceforth, Mangle replacing Foxy. As for Nightmare replacing Nightmare, we do kinda have come to the conclusion that Nightmare is the same. Fredbear and Golden Freddy is the same, and Nightmare and the Puppet, all the same. So, Nightmare replacing Nightmare, not that big of a deal, but still driving in the point that you kinda messed up. I do believe that Nightmare and Nightmare is the puppet or Charlie's spirit in a way. But let's move on to the next character, which is Nightmare Balloon Boy. I don't know where I read this, where Scott said that Nightmare Balloon Boy is canon. If it is, just further proves my point. If that's false, I don't really care, because Nightmare Balloon Boy replaces Plush Trap. Plush Trap is just an ankle-biting version of Springtrap. So, yeah. Having William's own creation, a creation that was created to lure and deceive children into a trap, kinda would be nice as a little reference or a metaphor to William's own characteristics. So having Balloon Boy replace Springtrap, nice job. Not that big of a deal though. Having the Funtime animatronics there, not that big of a deal. The Phantom animatronics, I believe the Phantom animatronics to be there because, well, they were creations of William, alongside the Toy Gang, the F1 Gang, and the Withered Gang. Why Withered Freddy and Withered Foxy isn't here, I don't really have a bigger theory for that, but what I do think why Withered Chica and Withered Bonnie is here is, well, you can clearly see that they are more decayed, they are more withered, they are more destroyed and damaged, and as we do learn in the second movie, that they were known as to be the prototypes, and where I do believe that they were possessed at one point, and their parts ended up being used for something else, William's experiments. It could be that Chica and Bonnie was just active or possessed a lot earlier than the other two animatronics. Henceforth, William ended up tearing them apart and experimenting on them. That's why they are in the state, the condition that they are right now. And why they are also here is because, well, their parts, the very body that they have left, have now been used as a little toy game for William. Honestly, everything here is a game. UCN, it's a game. This is serious as a game, and I'm gonna lose my brain. Okay, so yes, fun times is the result of the weather. It's the toy animatronics. I only think they are here. Not the toy animatronics. I don't really think is possessed. They're just annoying, but they are creations of William. William did make them. In the second movie, it shows blueprints, and it shows the toy animatronics. If you go in the behind-the-scenes stuff, it shows that the blueprints are meant to be the toy animatronics, not the original gang or the Wizards. It's meant to be the toys. And they are version 3, so that kind of throws a little wrench in some of the theories, but I can still work around that. Fun. But they were never possessed. The only reason why they are here is because they were created to be death traps. They were created by William, and we all know William doesn't make innocent machines. Clearly visible by the fun times. So, Helpy. Why Helpy would be here is, well, as I said in my previous theory of the Pizzeria Simulator, Helpy is the mimic. The mimic that William ended up taking over and repurposing for his own doing. Yeah, Helpy. Just his own creation coming to nip at his ankles. Trash in the gang? Could be possibly that not all souls ended up possessing machinery or the animatronics machinery. They could have just inhabited inanimate objects. But still, driving in the fact that they are possessed, they are spirits, and stuff that he thought would not be a problem ends up becoming a problem. The mediocre melodies alongside with the rock stars. Rock stars I don't really find that important, but there are still some lines that do stand out. But the mediocre melodies plays a big part, and I will get into that in a minute. So DJ Music Man plays in alongside the mediocre melodies. We do as well get the Pizzeria Simulator gang. That is Molten Freddy, Scrap Baby, the Peanut. I'm sorry. Scrapchat, Peanut, William Afton. I don't care. I'm calling him Peanut. And Lefty. Those are there because, well, those are the last animatronics that they saw and that he ended up mingling with. If that's the correct way to say it, I don't know. Don't judge me, please. So, why Ralph is here? The phone guy, Ralph. Well, if we do pay attention, Ralph has been with Fazbear Entertainment since way before F2, because he does speak about a previous location and it does sound like he has worked there. So he has been here with Fazbear Entertainment, probably working with William, not exactly knowing what he's doing, but kinda knowing what he's doing. Ralph is a complicated case, but he has been with this company for long enough to have kind of a very, like, bitch, I thought I could trust you, but your shit killed me, so I'm gonna kill you now. It's fitting. I'm sorry. Sometimes you can't really think too much about this. Some things are just way simpler and easier, and it should stay that way. The Rockstar animatronics, I think, is literally just knockoffs. I don't know, Pizzeria Simulator head-to-head, some Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, I guess, and Foxy. So, henceforth, Rockstar animatronics. Which, why they would be here tormenting William could be, well, William saw them, and it was creations that ended up... Could have been part of Murray. I don't know. Didn't do that much research into it, and I honestly don't think that the Rockstars are that important. No, they're not important. But the mediocre melodies, though. The mediocre melodies, Music Man, and Old Man Consequences play a wonderful role. Oh, before I forget, the reason why Springtrap and the Peanut is here is, well, why not be tortured by your own monstrous actions? It's like recording your siblings' fit or tantrum and playing it back to them to show them, hey, this is what you're like. See, you see how entertaining it is? How embarrassing it is? How torturous and monstrous it is? Yeah, that pretty much is the vibe. So, mediocre melodies, Old Man Consequences, and DJ Music Man. The reason why I believe them to be here, and they are specifically the ones that the entity likes to talk through. Like, you can hear the secondary voice behind the character's original voice? I don't know what to call it, but yeah. So, I believe the entity is using these characters specifically because it does drive home. It drives home. Oh, that can be a pun and a metaphor for so much. Let me clear it up. Driving home. Yeah, it drives the point home because, well, William probably drive a car via the Fazbear Fright books. Drove a van and killed little old David. Driving home, yes, going back to home, where David, I believe the entity to be David. If you guys don't like that theory, you can stop this video right here, but I don't have much to prove it. I just have a gut feeling, and you guys are going to need to go with me on this one, okay? This is my theory video. I get to talk about what I think. The entity is David. David, of course, knew about the mediocre melodies, and the mediocre melodies are stolen concepts from Murray's mansion, which William will know of, and seeing them in this new redesigned animatronic look instead of the felt mascot costumes. Well, it could just be a repurposed from Stan's budget tech. Stan that ended up stealing the designs and trying to make a profit off it. Okay, cool. So William would know that. Seeing them now in this new design in F6, Pizzeria Simulator, he would know of them. He would see them here in his torture and his torment because this is their new look. But why the entity is choosing them specifically is because, well, David, being the entity, would know of these characters because his father created them. His father worked with them. It was his father's property. And now little old young David, killed so tragically, so young, he would know about this. And another reason why I think David to be the entity that is torturing William is because it is said through Chica's voice line, because we know that, my theory is, that this entire hellscape that William is experiencing is done through one entity. One entity is doing all of this. It's not multiple, it's one. So Chica's voice line, where I was the first, I have seen everything, would make sense if it was David. He was there, and he would use Chica because he would know about Chica being the first. Afton would know about Chica being the first. So, the entity knowing that Afton would know that kind of would make sense why he is then using Chica's voice line of I was the first, I have seen everything. But before you come and trying to correct me saying that, oh, but Fiona died before David at Fallfest. Yes, I'm very freaking aware of that. But we are talking about children here, okay? We're talking about people that William intentionally went out to kill. Why I think he ended up killing David, I will leave that. I'm going to leave you guys with a cliffhanger on that one. You guys are going to need to wait for my Secret of the Mimic theory video. what I think about that game and the theories behind it, and why William ended up killing David. But until then, suffer. So I believe David to be the entity because it can't be Charlie. There is quite a few characters here who has said that he, the one he shouldn't have killed, he's watching, he's here, They are talking about the entity as a male, and now there is no other character that has been mentioned or referenced properly as in the way that the Mimic, the Puppet, Golden Freddy, and William has been mentioned in the entire series. It just makes sense that David, the first child to die in the series that we have now come to kind of document the proven timeline, David died way earlier than all the other deaths. So having him be the one to torment William because he has seen everything. He was the first. He has been there. Now saying that David was a little bit too young to remember stuff, like, hey, I do believe that growing up as a ghost is a thing, okay? You may still look like a child, but you can still learn a lot. Now, I don't care what age you are. You can stay 5 for the rest of your freaking life. But if you have enough, if you are 5 for long enough years, you end up learning things and having the mental capacity that does not befit a 5-year-old. So this being David doesn't really seem that far-fetched for me. Yeah. Ultimate Custom Night, everybody! I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry for the See you in the next one. Ciao!